I'm Teresa Maiorano, registered dietitian for Live and Love Nutrition, and I'm also the registered dietitian for Tripod Fertility Clinic, as well for recipients at Fertility Friends Foundation, and a few other clinics in the city and, well, in Ontario, really. So today we're going to talk all about nutrition and how nutrition can help improve your odds of success when you're going through fertility treatments, whether any type of ART or even just natural cycles. But we just want to try to boost the chances of success. This is what it's all about through nutrition and lifestyle. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them. I think there's a chat here. Isabel, there's someone in the chat. I don't know. Um, so again, this is
Yeah,
me, Teresa. Sorry, go ahead.
it was Lisa just saying hi.
Oh, okay. Hi. Okay,
But I'll
great.
monitor the chat and let you know if she asks questions.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. This is me, Teresa Maiorano. This is my private practice, Live and Love Nutrition, and of course, Instagram. My website is there, and I'm on LinkedIn. Those are the only social media places that I can handle. I can't do any more than that. So just Instagram and LinkedIn is to find blog posts, information, just really anything that I think is useful information to be able to share, I put on there. This is a little bit about me. So I have two food degrees. I have a degree from the University of Guelph in food science, and I worked in industry for a while at Nestle. I was an official quality assurance taste tester and things in the quality assurance department for chocolate and ice cream, actually. So I do have a sensory palate there. And then I went back to school to Toronto Metropolitan University, which was then Ryerson, and got my food and nutrition degree and became a dietitian. I am the editor for the Penn Nutrition, which is a global practice for nutritional professionals. It's a resource database, and I am the editor for their fertility content, actually. And these are the other societies and things that I belong to. I should have put Fertility Friends Foundation up here, actually, because I'm a supporter of you as well. So um, okay, so today's the agenda. So I always start with the research. I'm everything that I do is research based. So I'm always checking the research. I'm constantly reading, even the fertility and sterility guide that we all get at the clinic. But I'm always looking at research to know what's new, what did they say. So we're going to start there, and then I'm going to talk about how to get all that research data into your daily life, right? How do you convert the information into actionable days of intake? What should you eat? What should you not eat? Things like that. So very action based. We'll talk about supplements as well, because I think supplements is important. I am a food first person, of course. I think nutrients predominantly should be coming from food, but it is important to supplement as well on the fertility journey. So we'll talk about what to eat, what to supplement, things that's evidence based, things that are maybe the do's and don'ts of supplement taking, and then pulling it all together. Okay, so you're welcome, Lisa, to take pictures of any of the screens that you like. And if Isabel wants, I can send you a PDF file if there's any slide that you like. I won't send them all, but okay. So this is just, again, the research. I don't want to overwhelm, but I want to provide. So this is a glimpse of what the research is talking about. I pulled predominantly dietary modifications or dietary intake. But when they say diet in this language, it's an eating pattern. Okay, it's not like you're a calorie restriction. That's not the way they're using the word diet. The word diet is the pattern of intake that someone is doing. Okay, so when we're saying preconception diet, it's preconception pattern of eating. And so there's a lot of different studies out there. Essentially, what the studies say is yes, nutrition and dietary eating patterns have a strong impact on improved fertility outcomes. That's undeniable. Even if you chat GPT it is out there. The question comes up on, and of course, science always wants to know this: what should we eat? When? How much? all of those specifics. And that's a little bit up for debate, depending on whether you're doing a natural cycle or an IVF, because of the different research that's out there. Okay. So taking all of this into consideration, what is the dietary pattern that is the best suited for improving fertility outcomes, right? That's what we want to know. And it's also actually evidence-based for males as well. So females and males. Males are phenomenal in the sense that when dietary changes or dietary improvements that are focused on fertility happen, sperm parameters, sperm changes very quickly. There's a really nice response to changes in nutrition and lifestyle, and improved sperm parameters. I actually think in my own practice, other than if someone is not producing sperm, if somebody is producing sperm, um, it always has increased with nutrition changes every single time. I've never seen it not come up. So it's a really nice relationship there. So how can we get this research into your daily life, right? What are we actually talking about? So really what we're seeing is a Mediterranean style diet, but modified. Okay, so there's just so much information that from all the information I take, I do a modified Mediterranean diet that is more targeted toward fertility studies that show nutrients and things that aren't looking at dietary patterns, but look at, say, plant-based proteins or look at different types of foods. So I do a modified Mediterranean diet. This is a summary of it, I think. A modified Mediterranean, plant-based proteins are shown to be very positive in the fertility space. So what is a modified Mediterranean diet? We eat more plant-based proteins than the typical Western diet does. And a Western diet is, I won't get into that actually. We'll just say that it's more plant-based protein. So plant-based proteins are beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, edamame. Those tempeh is a good one, fermented food for sure. So we want to try to include those often. So I commonly say 2 to 3 times a week, doing a plant-based meal only. Okay, so you're getting all your protein from the plant-based proteins, not like chickpeas and chicken. I want you to have more of those chickpeas. Nuts and seeds are part of a Mediterranean diet for sure. And, this is on a daily, some nuts and some seeds, not huge amounts, but definitely included. And what kinds of nuts and seeds? Really, it's a variety. Fish and seafood is part of a Mediterranean diet as well. So salmon, for sure. Salmon kind of seems to be everywhere. Trout. And seafood in the sense of clams, oysters, mussels, those shell mollusks, the shell ones, very nutrient rich when we're looking for fertility focused nutrients. And then the fatty fishes, right? High in omega-3s, which is anti-inflammatory. We're always looking at anti-inflammatory focus. That's the overarching focus of this kind of style of eating. So salmon, trout, tuna, sardines are excellent. Sometimes a hard sell. Sardines are excellent. And I have recipes for a lot of these things. So if there's something like a sardine that you're like, I don't know how to cook it, I don't know how to eat it, I don't know how to plan it, I have all that stuff. So vegetables are the main focus in a Mediterranean style diet. Definitely. I would say you eat vegetables in probably the largest quantity, 5 to 8 servings in a day. Pesticide free if possible, for sure. And again, when we were talking about organic, there are, sometimes organic can be very, very expensive. So you've got to pick and choose which ones you can and can't, which ones are better, which ones aren't. But if you can do organic, that'd be great. Frozen, fresh, it's okay, either one. And then fruit as well. So you want lots of veggies. You want, loads of veggies, more veggies, and then lots of fruits as well. Again, pesticide free if you can. My guideline when it comes to the organic space, because cost can be a factor, as you know, Isabel, I'm sure you see the costs of groceries are through the roof right now. So trying to be very sensitive to that. My guideline when I'm at the grocery store and I'm looking for organic, and this is my food science hat coming in, I like to say that the more surface area on a fruit, the more you'd want it organic. So the smaller the fruit, so I would say blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, small things you would want to have organic versus something big with a peel. If you can't do organic there, that's where I would have my wiggle room. So oranges, bananas, pineapples, those kind of things. Um, Dairy, I put a little question mark here for dairy. So I like dairy is in a Mediterranean style diet, yes, in the form of cheese and yogurt commonly, not really in the form of just drinking straight cow's milk, um, more in the fermented dairy space, which I very strongly support because of the research. And when we're talking about full fat versus skim, leaning more towards full fat than low fat for this style of eating. And it is support. There's some controversy about dairy, um, but I would say focusing on some cheese, yogurt, kefir is very good, or kefir, however they say it, is excellent when it comes to the Mediterranean fertility Mediterranean diet. Whole grains is something that I see commonly not being consumed enough of. So whole grains, buckwheat, farro, barley, oats, whole grain sourdough bread, whole wheat pastas. Those kind of whole grains are very supported in the fertility space. So I do try to encourage people to get at least 2 servings of whole grains in a day because that's what the research says. It helps thicken your lining. It helps in many different aspects. And then, of course, supplements. So the right type, the quality, and the dose. Definitely. Okay. Is that is that clear? Yeah? Good. Okay, so here's another way of looking at it. Fertility Betty Mediterranean diet. This is how I like to see things. So sometimes I think if it's on your fridge, how can I visualize it in a pretty way? So this is how I've created this in a summary page. Like I mentioned, some of the things on the Mediterranean diet, there's a few other things here, like eggs are great. And like I can go through a lot of different protein sources. I can go through a lot of different, specific vegetables, specific fruits. Um, I didn't here, but I can. What I do with my clients essentially is I look at their intake, I look at their micronutrients, and then I go through the journal entries specifically to see, are you getting certain varieties? Like, for example, are you getting some beets in your weekly intake? Are you getting berries in your weekly intake? I like color, variety and color for sure. Different protein sources, so eggs and poultry. Funny enough about poultry, at least I find this really funny. Um, I don't think I've seen a research study ever mention the word chicken. Okay, I know we all eat chicken. Chicken is like everybody eats, not everybody, sorry, but it's a very common protein source is chicken. I tend to see more things like eggs, fatty fishes, seafood, some poultry, but I don't know if it's in poultry in the amounts that we all eat it. So I like more variety when it comes to proteins. Um, like I said, oops, sorry. Um, like I said, beans, chickpeas, and lentils often, definitely. And I would pair that with vegetables. So dark leafy greens, squash is really great, pumpkin or chickpea chana masala kind of thing with a whole grain. Wonderful. Let's talk about extra virgin olive oil, so the oils. Extra virgin olive oil is the main oil source when it comes to the Mediterranean style diet of eating. How much olive oil? It's 2 to 5 tablespoons every day of extra virgin olive oil, which that's the classic for a Mediterranean style diet eating pattern. Um, and the thing about extra virgin olive oil is it doesn't like heat or high heat. So this way that you're eating it, you're not cooking high heat with extra virgin olive oil, you're drizzling with extra virgin olive oil. So you're either doing low and slow cooking, or you're drizzling extra virgin olive oil. You're not frying with it because then it burns and then it doesn't do what you want it to do. So that's how extra virgin olive oil is eaten in the Mediterranean diet. Um, this one here, eat high quality food in balanced portions. So when you're talking about balanced portions, we're talking about the macronutrients. We're talking about protein, fats, and carbs, whole carbs. So when you're having a meal, every time you're thinking about a meal, you're thinking, where's my protein? Where are my colors? Where's my whole grains? Okay, that's how we balance out our meal. These supplements, I've put them here because in a fertility focused diet, like I said, it does include some supplements. This is done on a, one by one basis for sure to see how much and what. Commonly or generally speaking, definitely vitamin D. Now, I mean, in November, I commonly I recommend everybody to supplement with vitamin D. Um, at least 2,000 units a day. I would say between 2 and 4,000 units a day would be a good dose for vitamin D. Folic acid is something that's always recommended when you're, trying to conceive. So you want a prenatal or just folic acid, one of the two. Iron and B12, low iron does have a relationship to longer um, pregnancy times. So you want to just make sure this you can get tested. You just want to make sure your iron supplies are up and you're within good levels. Same with vitamin B12. Prenatals, we always recommend a prenatal. That's definitely. And then CoQ10. CoQ10 is, it's in the research, definitely. It's very common that people recommend for egg quality. And so I commonly say yes to CoQ10 because it's good. Okay. So pulling it all together, and do I have a slide for? Yes, I do. I have an avoid slide. Okay. Well, let's do the avoid slide first, actually. There is recommended ingredients to avoid when we're talking about the fertility focused eating style. Um, and I go through food journals as well to see where these things are kind of sneaking in. So the biggest one on this list, I would say, are the trans fats. Trans fats are something that you cannot make in your kitchen. It is only consumed through industrialized foods or through, grocery store items or, yeah, foods from industry. Because of the processing, the hydrogenation of a fat creates these trans fats that are known to be detrimental to fertility health. So the best way I would say to get trans fats out of your diet completely is to read the nutrition facts label. It's always a mandatory item. You have to have trans fats on the nutrition facts table, which is on the side of a label. You want it to say 0. The other thing though is if a product has less than 0.5 grams of trans fats in the product, they can list it as 0. Okay, so they had to have a cutoff because you can go into many decimal points, etc. So there's the cutoff, which is 0.5. So what I would do is I would look at the ingredient list and see that the word hydrogenated is not in the ingredient list in any form, partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated. I wouldn't buy that product. So the numbers here, actually, what it says here is how you read this, and this is from different studies, is that trans fats in the quantity of 4 grams a day or more can increase your risk of infertility by 75 to 200%. And so that's obviously the biggest one here. So trans fats is one that I look at very specifically and deeply, and we just want to get those out. Processed meats, deli meat, sausage, bacon, deep fried chicken fingers, frozen chicken fingers, any of those kind of processed items. I mean, if you do it at home, different. But if you're purchasing these, I commonly say just no, no to this stuff. Again, in the research, processed meats are one of those ones that says, please no. And saturated fats, but that's another conversation. So you get saturated fats through processed meats. Ultra processed foods are coming to the surface. Is the science 100% here? No. I mean, is the science ever 100%? I don't know. But for me, protein powders, protein bars, foods that are not in the original form, I would try to avoid. And so whole foods, when I read the research, is what we're talking about. We want whole foods that look like what they originally intended to look like. So these powders and stuff, I commonly say, let's try to move away from those and get into whole food sources of commonly proteins are what we're looking at here. Um, and then sugar-based foods. Okay, I think I have to close this, Isabel. I have to close this blind. Do you mind just 1 minute? I'm just going to close it. It's right in my face.
Nice to have a bit of sun, but it can be
Yeah,
it can be a bother sometimes.
exactly, exactly, exactly. You never know when that's going to come. There we go. That's much better. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep going like out of the screen, right? Okay, sugar-based foods. So, yeah, sugar is something, sugar-based foods, pops, candy, confectionery, baked goods like croissants and cookies and shelf-stable. That's kind of a combination of the added sugars and the trans. That's where you'll find that stuff. Um, and so the research really talks about bringing this down. So, I mean, there's a long conversation here about balancing blood sugars and insulin levels and those with insulin resistance and all of the conversation there and, ovarian function, etc. Um, so I commonly say, let's try to bring this down as much as we can. If you put a teaspoon or a half a teaspoon of sugar in your tea in the morning or coffee in the morning, that's not something that I say we must get away from that. But the foods that are really sugar based are the ones that I say, let's take those out and replace them with something that's a little more nutrient rich. Okay. So those are commonly the foods that I talk about avoiding. And then pulling it all together. So this is, I tried to do like a little pyramid here of things that I want you to consume in the most amounts versus things I want you to, oops, sorry, things that I want you to consume in the least amount, right? Trans fats not even being in the pyramids, I just put it right at the top. Um, so when you're at the grocery store, I thought this might be a nice one to be able to say, okay, looking at your grocery cart, do you have enough of the ones here at the bottom? Are you buying enough vegetables? Are you buying enough eggs? Are you buying enough lentils to be able to last the week, for example, right? So that you can go to. Fermented food isn't on here. The only one on here is yogurt, I think. Yeah. But fermented foods needs a moment for me to talk about for sure. There's more and more research about the gut microbiome and the uterine micro endoblome I think they call it endobiome. Um, and so I very much support all things that are prebiotic, probiotic foods, so prebiotic fibers and probiotic type foods. Yogurt, kefir, like I said, tempeh, sauerkraut, kimchi, those nice fermented products. I like those too to be in the eating in the eating style, eating patterns. Um, just touching on the lifestyle factors for a moment. Okay, so environmental interrupters, environmental toxins is a strong word, but environmental interrupters, on a case by case basis, these things are looked at for sure. You want to try to avoid, like what I do when I go grocery shopping, I take all the meats and stuff that I buy and I take it out of the package and I put it in my glass containers and then I put it in the freezer. I don't use a plastic water bottle, for example, metal water bottle or glass for that matter. Looking at this can be quite a rabbit hole to go down actually when you're looking at your creams and all those things. So I don't get into all that, but just generally speaking, when it comes to foods, I try to remove the contact from plastic as much as I can. Weight is another conversation point, I guess. Studies show that weight can have an impact and so 5 to 10% weight loss if you have a high BMI is definitely supported just to get your body in that state. The research talks about that a lot. Glucose stabilization for sure. Inflammation, everything that we talk about when we talk about food, nutrition, lifestyle, and fertility is all about bringing down inflammation. And then movement. Movement is, we need to exercise, we need to move, walking, whatever you enjoy. I like to call it daily movement that you enjoy instead of like exercise that sometimes may have a negative impact in our mind. So daily movement, yoga, even, just getting the blood flowing is very important for all fertility outcomes. And then these ones here as well, stress, sleep quality. These are all the things that I talk about with my one-on-ones. Okay. Okay, we talked about the avoid list. Okay, supplements, right. Targeted nutrients. So these are all the nutrients that have shown a relationship when it comes to optimal fertility. And these are all the ones that I look at either in your diet or in supplement form. Some of them you get from food. I'll show you on the next slide. Some of them you get from supplements. So, for example, omega-3 fatty acids you get from fatty fish, walnuts, flax seeds, and I recommend this on a routine basis. This is and it can be hard to do. So supplementing with omega-3s is something I commonly recommend because it's just so hard to get that every day, every week. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, it's a very potent antioxidant. Commonly, it's in supplement form, but it's well supported when it comes to fertility outcomes, whether you're doing IVF or not. You kind of have to see. Beta carotene, vitamin A, they're related. I don't recommend vitamin A in supplement form. I don't recommend beta carotene in supplement form either. I recommend beta carotene in food form. So you get those from orange veggies. The body has a really beautiful feedback loop in the sense that when you take vitamin A in the supplement form, or if you eat too much vitamin A rich foods, things like beef liver or organ meats for that matter, then it's in the active form of vitamin A. But the body from beta carotene has a really beautiful system where if you have enough vitamin A in your body already, the beta carotene won't get converted into vitamin A. So, whereas if you take it in supplement form, you can easily take too much and then have adverse effects. So I like beta carotene from food sources. Lycopene is something you get in tomatoes or tomato sauce. Again, another strong antioxidant. CoQ10 we take in supplement form. Lean proteins, amino acids galore there. Variety of proteins. So when I'm looking at that, I always look at a variety to see which amino acids are you getting from where and how much. These are all antioxidants, different types, but those are definitely important. We want antioxidants, antioxidants, antioxidants. These two as well, anti-inflammatories. Monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Commonly, I recommend people to be getting more of the MUFAs and PUFAs because usually we don't have enough. Fiber is something that I love and talk about a lot. And interestingly enough, in the system, we need to have enough fiber. We need the gut moving. We need the bowels moving. We talk about it all, and nothing is, nothing is out of bounds to be talking about. And the bowels need to move. If you're somebody who has, chronic constipation, we need to get that solved because the body it just needs to be moving. Okay, calcium, magnesium, iron, iodine. Iodine in Canada, we don't really have a concern for iodine and lack of iodine because our iodine is our salt is iodized. And once that happened back in whenever it was, 50s, then iodine deficiencies were gone. But iodine deficiency is extremely dangerous for fetuses, so for pregnancy, and that's why we iodized our salt. And so I do recommend, using finishing salts and using salts that are don't contain iodine. But when we talk about cooking, you're salting your water, I do want iodized table salt in your kitchen and being used. Okay, vitamin D, we already talked about. Vitamin E, that nutrient is near and dear to my heart. From my food journal analysis on all the clients, I would say this is the common one that is the most commonly consumed in too small amounts. And again, it's a fat, not again, but it's a fat soluble vitamin. So I want that from food. And I commonly recommend increasing vitamin E rich foods because there's a nice relationship about vitamin E sources, increased vitamin E intake, and improved fertility outcomes. So vitamin E is one of those ones that I do a deep dive on commonly. Okay. So these are the supplements that, these are another way of looking at the supplements. Commonly, depending on, your situation, I will recommend any one, not all, but one or some of these. Inositol is a B8 vitamin and showing a lot of good promise when it comes to fertility health, when it comes to blood sugar management, insulin resistance, PCOS. So inositol is one of those ones that commonly gets recommended in supplement form. ALA is an interesting one as well. More research about this one with respect to prevention of miscarriages seems to be quite promising. So ALA is one of those ones that can be provided in supplement form as well if you have history of recurrent miscarriages. Okay. Some of the do's. So some of the don't, I'm sorry, supplement don'ts. It's very easy to overdose when it comes to supplements. More is not always better. So I don't recommend self-dosing. I don't recommend overdosing. I don't recommend not consulting with your doctor. So you do need to consult with your doctor, especially if you're taking medications, and bring your list of supplements in with you when you're talking with your doctor, or if you have a change in supplements, let your doctor know or your healthcare provider, because some of them can really, like I said, a lot more isn't always better. Listen to your body, listen to your side effects, listen to your symptoms. If you if you're starting to take something and you're getting some adverse effects, definitely start thinking, okay, is it this, what's happening? Fortified foods and fluids. So it can be, again, you can overdose when you're taking supplements, and then you're also taking protein powders that are supplemented, and you're also taking supplemented cereals, and you're also taking other things. So, be careful on where you're getting all your nutrients from, because there are adverse effects with levels that are too high. And when it comes to the supplement world, it's not regulated with respect to how much of certain supplements you can put in the bottle. So, smoking, I never recommend smoking. Smoking anything, cannabis or tobacco, is not recommended when you're going through, for males or females, it's not recommended when you're going through your fertility journey. Okay, that is everything. I just want to say that I don't know, Isabel, if you've seen this yet, but I have put out a recipe book. So this is my Boost Your Fertility cookbook, and all the pictures are mine, all the recipes are mine. Here, I'll give you a little quick little, I don't know if you can see that. There's a first chapter that's all about everything that I kind of talked about, but a lot more detail about sweeteners and supplements and nutrients, fats, proteins, all the things that you need to know. And then there's a lot of recipes in here that I personally created, tested, and then photographed. So a bit of a near and dear project. I felt quite compelled, actually, to put this book out there because I think that it can be a really useful resource for anybody going through the fertility journey and not able to talk to a dietitian one-on-one, for example. So you can get that through Amazon. It's on Amazon. It's in digital form. It's in softback form, or you can get it through my website. And right now, actually, if you buy one and email me, then you get a free 7-day meal plan as well, just to support even more, because I do what I can. And so that's everything.
Questions on this cookbook? No, I didn't know about it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll
Thank
buy one for
you.
sure. That's
Oh, thank you.
congratulations on this
Thank
wonderful
you.
project, and yes, very
Thank
much
you.
needed.
Yeah, I get a lot of requests for, again, like recipes when I say, okay, let's bring in some more fish, let's bring in some more beans. It's like, well, I don't know, like, what do I do? How do I cook it? So there's been many years where I'm sharing recipes. And so I thought, you know what? I feel quite, um, and every time I'm in the kitchen, I love to cook. And every time I'm in the kitchen, I'm constantly thinking about, what I should be adding to boost up the nutritional content, right? So like this recipe right here is grilled chicken tacos. My daughter named this Lime Delicious Tacos, actually. So my daughter named this one. But yeah, so lots of color, lots of plant-based proteins, like all the things that I talk about. I'm like, I need to put this in a book to help people.